The following presentation is a Thompson Rivers University BUSN 6031 International Business Assignment by Janelle Andrew. The article chosen for this analysis can be found on BBC's Work-Life publication. This presentation will cover a summary of the article titled When Expats Return Home, What's Next? Written by Ronald Alsop. It will also contain a thesis as well as support for the thesis with details from the article, the course textbook, and various online sources. This article focuses on the idea of repatriation of expatriates. According to Hill, Halt, and McKeag, an expatriate manager is a citizen of one country who is working abroad in one of the firm's other locations, and repatriation involves the training and development of expatriate managers to prepare them for re-entry into their home country organization. The launching point for this article is a global mobility effectiveness study done by Ernst & Young that found 16% of employees bolted, meaning they left the organization, within the first 2 years after a global assignment ended. This topic was chosen as it is a continuation of the content introduced in Module 3, Section D of this course. It is mentioned in the lectures as something that is often overlooked yet vitally important. The article focuses on 3 main ideas. Losing repatriated employees is common, typically due to a lack of reintegration planning and a mismatch between the employee's felt purpose and passions and the home company role that they are placed in. This can also be caused by reverse culture shock upon return to their home country and organizational culture. Often, the employee returns feeling optimistic about their gained knowledge and experiences, only to be hit with the reality of how difficult it is to feel as though none of it mattered. Losing repatriated employees is a significant loss, as when an organization loses human capital, they lose all the learned skills and experiences of that employee and of the international culture that the employee had a deep understanding of. Losing repatriated employees is preventable, mostly through strategic changes and early development of comprehensive reintegration plans. The thesis of this analysis is, unless there is an intentional reintegration plan in place for expatriates, they will likely lose motivation upon their return home, resulting in an eventual departure from the company. Andresen and Kinnear address this issue in the Journal of Behavioral and Applied Management. Their findings show that repatriation and reverse culture shock have historically been undervalued or overlooked by organizations. An organization's lack of intentionality in this area is typically due to either a lack of expertise, the cost of the program, or the belief that the program would not be needed. A lack of an intentional reintegration plan leaves a majority of repatriated employees feeling dissatisfied. This brings about a triple loss: a loss of investment funds, a loss of international expertise, and a loss in the ability to attract future expatriates, as they will have seen the struggles of their colleagues. Hill, Halt, and McKeag address this issue of repatriation briefly toward the end of the chapter. They confirm that this area is often overlooked and yet critically important. They cite research that shows that 60 to 70% of repatriated employees did not even know what their position would be when returning home, let alone the specifics of their reintegration plan. They also cite a study even more shocking than the one the article is based on, showing that 15% of repatriated employees leave within 1 year of returning home, and 40% of repatriated employees leave within 3 years of returning home. This issue has proven to affect culture, turnover, and profits. It needs to be addressed head-on, and it needs to be addressed early in the process. Despite overwhelming evidence of the challenges, managers are not without solutions. There is hope. Alsop, author of the article, states that repatriation needs to start much earlier in the process, giving a sense of security with room for flexibility. It can be tricky to promise a position far in advance, but employees are more likely to be flexible if they know that their opinion matters and that the organization is invested in them applying their learning. In the course lectures, the lecturer confirms that the way to address the repatriate turnover is to invest in management development and focus on application of knowledge gained overseas after the manager returns home. In the textbook, the authors suggest having a reintegration program as a core aspect of the human resources management function, held with the same importance as the expatriate selection and training processes. Thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope you learned something about the impact that investment in expatriate employees can have on an organization.